Welcome to Dynamic Cyclist. We're so excited to have you on board. Over the next 7 days, we'll be introducing you to some of our programming. So today we're going to start with a 15-minute mobility routine. You will need a mat and a cushion. Go ahead and grab those and we'll get started. We're going to start with dynamic shoulder circles. So we're going to be rolling our shoulders up towards our ears, pulling them back, squeezing the shoulder blades, and pulling them down as far away from our ears as we can. Just circling back in that motion with like a big roll for 30 seconds. So really focus on the range of motion as we go through. So shoulder rolls are overall a great movement just to warm up the shoulder joint. While we're squeezing our shoulders down and back, we are activating in between our shoulder blades and the mid-back muscles, while at the same time we're opening up the chest and the front of our shoulders. And those muscles tend to be quite tight on a lot of people, especially cyclists. Awesome. Okay, time's up. Go ahead and relax. We're moving into a 3-point hamstring stretch. So we're going to have 3 different angles with our feet, holding 20 seconds on each. So go ahead and start with your feet a comfortable distance apart and angle your toes out 45 degrees. We're going to start with a big breath in, and then you're going to roll your chin down to your chest. Start with that mid-back, let it round and your shoulders come forward, following through even more to the mid-back, and then slowly releasing in the low back. You can bend your knees if your hamstrings are really tight, and you can have the option to stop here. If you're feeling a lot of tension, if you're feeling okay, you can keep going down and then all the way down to the ground only if that works for you. So just go by how you feel. Again, holding for 20 seconds. All right, we're going to slowly bring it back up. So pressing and rounding throughout that spine all the way up at the top. You're going to bring your toes facing right forward and same thing, slowly folding all the way down. Let your head relax, bend the knees if you need to. So we're doing these different angles because we have 3 hamstrings in the back of our legs. So doing 3 different positions with the feet is going to be hitting all of them. All right, slowly bring it back up, pressing throughout the spine. And the last 20 seconds, bring those toes in about 45 and slowly roll all the way back down. Again, head is relaxed. Really focus on letting that spine round. We also want to find release in that low back. All right, time's up. So slowly pressing throughout the spine, bring it all the way back up and just stand comfortable. We're moving into a standing dynamic cactus. So your feet are a comfortable distance apart. Right from the start, draw your belly button in towards your spine, take your hips and tuck them under slightly. So you're just tucking that tailbone under so you have a nice neutral low back. From there, we're going to open up, so squeeze the shoulder blades together and pull them down your back. So picture your shoulder blades coming together and then sliding down your back, elbows drawn down. From there, we're going to slowly release up, just pressing straight up through the fingertips, arms straight at the top, and then coming all the way back down and repeating for 30 seconds. So especially as we're reaching up overhead, make sure that tailbone stays tucked under so the pelvis is tucked, the belly button is drawn in, and the low back is supported. So working through a full range of motion into those shoulders, and again, squeezing the shoulder blades down, away from your ears, and together. All right, time's up. Go ahead and relax. We're moving into cat, cow, snake. So coming into tabletop position, letting your feet relax, pressing your toes into the ground, knees underneath the hips, and hands underneath the shoulder. We're going to start by rounding our spine, tucking your head under, pressing through your spine as much as you can. From there, shifting your weight back onto your hips, letting your chest drop down. Then we're going to drop to our elbows and slide our chest forward, coming up back to the hands and letting that back arch, driving forward through the chest and gazing up with the head. So we're just going to repeat this movement for 30 seconds. So starting by arching the back, hold the arch, reaching back with your hips, drop to the elbows, sliding that chest through, and then pressing back up to the palms, letting that back arch. Your option is just to go from cat to cow back and forth. So this movement is really good for releasing tension throughout the spine. You might also feel it into your hips and your chest at the top as well. All right, time's up. Go and relax. We're moving into a low lunge. Feel free to grab a blanket or cushion if you'd like to put it underneath your knee. It can help if you have any kind of knee sensitivity and just overall make it a little bit more comfortable. So you're going to be kneeling onto that back knee, relaxing your other foot out, and front leg flat on the foot, knee rested over top of the ankle. Have your hands wherever is comfortable. Now there's kind of two ways to do a low lunge. We could choose to press the hip forward and really focus on opening up the hip flexor and the hips. But today we're actually going to shift that weight back a little bit so it stays stacked over top and focus on pressing the entire leg forward. You're almost squeezing them together, focusing more on a stretch into the quad. You still might feel that hip flexor and groin a little bit, but again, our main focus here is into that quad. So we're going to hold for 30 seconds on each side. Keeping your chest nice and tall, slight tension between the shoulder blades and that belly button drawn in with those hips tucked under. Again, you should actively be pressing forward in that back leg the entire time. All right, time's up on that side, so go ahead and release. And then we're going to switch to the other one. So again, relax the foot, keeping that hip and knee in line, pressing forward and holding for 30 seconds. Again, you want that tailbone, those hips tucked under slightly to really get into the quad and the front of that hip. All right, time's up. Go ahead and relax, back on your mat. We're moving into a seated 4 stretch. So you're going to be having your hands in behind you, seated on your mat, bringing one ankle up onto the opposite knee or just above that knee, flexing the toes to the shin of that leg that's propped up and actively try to drive that knee away. So you should feel a stretch into your glute. We're going to hold for 30 seconds on each side. So the more you focus on trying to press that knee away, it's going to increase the stretch. As an option, feel free to let that bottom leg kind of slide open, or again, if you need a deeper stretch, you can just bring it a little bit closer. Keeping your chest nice and tall the entire time, and those toes flex to the shin to help protect the knee. A further option as well, if this one feels very tight, you can sit in a chair and just bring that ankle up to the knee. All right, time's up on that side. Go ahead and switch. Again, flexing those toes. We're holding for 30 seconds. Chest is nice and tall. Try to relax your shoulders down away from your ear. Again, the focus is the glute of the bent leg. All right, release out of that stretch and go ahead and relax. We're moving into chin tucks. This movement helps correct muscle imbalances throughout the neck. So we want to start by sitting up nice and tall, rolling the shoulders down away from the ears. You're holding your belly button into your spine, so your torso and your back is supported. We're going to be drawing our chin back. So you're like squishing your chin towards your neck. We're gonna hold for about 5 seconds and then just release back to neutral. So you don't wanna over exaggerate the extend out. So again, holding in for about 5 seconds and then releasing. We're gonna repeat that movement for 30 seconds. So torso's up nice and tall. Really try to hold in and then release. Again, just counting to about 5 in your head as you hold in before you release. So the muscles we're strengthening are going to help correct forward head posture, so overall getting a better alignment throughout the neck. All right, time's up. Go ahead and relax. We're moving into child's pose twist. So you're going to start in tabletop position, hands underneath the shoulders. Then you're going to walk those knees as wide as the width of your mat, bringing your big toes together. You can walk your hands slightly forward if needed, letting your back naturally round as you sit back onto the heels and relax your head down to the mat. Now, if this is too much, whether it's pinching something into your hips, you can take a blanket or a pillow and just put it back onto your calves so that your bum doesn't have to go all the way down, or feel free to put something underneath your knees as well. So we're slowly getting into position and we're going to hold here for 20 seconds. So you're going to feel a stretch. You might feel it right into the groin, a bit into the hips, and that back as well. All right, for the next 20 seconds, you're going to take both hands, walk them off to the side, and then sit those hips back down again. We're holding here for 20 seconds. So we're keeping the same stretch, but now we're adding an oblique, so right onto the side of your abdomen as well. All right, in the last 20 seconds, walk those hands off to the other side and sit back. All right, time's up. Go to relax, back on your mat. We're finishing our routine with a lower twist. So coming to lie back onto your mat, bringing one leg up, hugging the knee into the chest, and then slowly letting it fall off to the side. Whether you're stopping here or going further, listen to your body. Feel free to roll onto that bottom hip, and if it's for you, you can look over the opposite shoulder. Once you're into position, we're gonna hold here for 30 seconds. Again, if it's a lot of a stretch into your low back, which is where we're focusing, and into that top glute, you can put something underneath that knee. It doesn't have to go all the way down, or again, just back off. Go as far as what works for you. All right, time's up on that side. Go ahead and switch. Bring the other leg in, and again, slowly draw it across the body. If it's for you, looking over that opposite shoulder and holding for the final 30 seconds. So this is a great movement to end off the routine with, as it's a nice passive release. All right, time's up. Go to release and relax. Great job at completing day number 1, everyone. Hopefully you feel like you've got some tension released and overall your body feels pretty good. Don't be discouraged or worried if you weren't quite where you wanted to be. Mobility especially, it does take time. So I'll see you back here tomorrow. We're going to be doing a combination of mobility and strength that focuses on the low back.